Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina has seen a boost in the polls since the first primary debate. She has said that the forum allowed her a chance to introduce herself to American voters. In a new poll among New Hampshire voters, she rose to the top 5. And Carly Fiorina joins me now from Washington. Thanks so much for being with us, ma'am.
It's my pleasure. Good morning.
So let's talk about the email controversy surrounding Hillary Clinton. She's handing over her server to the FBI after reports that some of her emails were classified as top secret. What do you make of her defense that they weren't marked classified at the time?
There is no excuse for a Secretary of State using a private email server and deciding which emails she's going to keep and which she's going to destroy. There's no excuse.
Do you feel, ma'am, that she compromised national security?
Of course, absolutely. You know, when this all first came up, she said that the server and its contents were protected because it was being guarded by 2 Secret Service agents. We're not worried about it being stolen, Mrs. Clinton, although perhaps you were. We are worried about it being hacked. And as we look at the Chinese hacking into the Office of Personnel Management database and stealing all of this information about personnel, of course her server was capable of being hacked and probably has been.
Let's move on. We have a lot to talk about. Let's talk about the issue of reproductive rights. In the primary race, Marco Rubio and Ben Carson are among some of those who have said that they don't support abortion in the case of rape or incest. Now, Secretary Clinton has slammed them for those opinions. So what do you make of that argument?
Well, you know, Mrs. Clinton is someone who supports the Democrat policy, which is it's not a life until it leaves the hospital. That is extraordinary and extreme. Mrs. Clinton continues to defend Planned Parenthood as video after video comes out and displays in its full horror the fact that we have Planned Parenthood employees picking over body parts while exclaiming, "Look, it's a baby." I think the American people need to understand how extreme the Democrat Party has become in its defense of abortion. It's not a life until it leaves the hospital. The vast majority of Americans know that that position is wrong.
So, ma'am, you're not in support of abortion rights at any stage?
I'm very consistent in my pro-life posture. Yes, I have supported exceptions for rape and incest and the life of the mother. I think science is proving those of us who believe in the sanctity of life right every day. But here's what I would say back to you. The majority of Americans, the majority of women, the majority of young people now believe that abortion for any reason at all after 5 months, 20 weeks, is wrong. So the Democrats are on the wrong side of this issue now. The majority of Americans believe that abortion for any reason at all after 5 months is wrong. And so the Senate should pass a bill sitting on the floor today that begins to restrict someone's ability to have an abortion after 5 months. And Planned Parenthood should be defunded immediately, and it is inexplicable to me how Democrats like Mrs. Clinton can continue to defend this organization.
Well, the question, I guess, ma'am, is Republicans seem to have difficulty navigating women's issues. That's happened in the past. It seems to be happening now. Why is that?
I disagree fundamentally with the premise of your question. Democrats want it to be true. Democrats always are talking about the war on women. Look, I'm a woman. I find it highly insulting that Democrats talk about women's issues. We are more than half the nation. Every issue is a woman's issue. We care about national security, about education, about health care, about the economy. Every issue is a woman's issue. We are half the nation.
But back in 2008 and 2012, ma'am, the GOP lost the women's vote by almost double digits. So what is it a perception issue?
You know, there is no question that the Republican Party needs to win with many groups that in 2008 and 2012 we lost with. We lost with women, we lost with young people, we lost with African Americans in 2008 and 2012. That's why we lost a presidential election. On the other hand, if you go into the state houses and look at how many governorships Republicans hold or how many state houses we hold, what you'll find is Republicans are winning with all those same groups. What we now need to do is win with women and young people and Hispanics and African Americans as well at a national level. And it is one of the things that makes me so optimistic about my chances as a presidential candidate in 2016.
Well, let's talk about the frontrunner right now, Donald Trump. Last night, he said on Fox News that he cherished women. He defended Planned Parenthood. He told Sean Hannity that Planned Parenthood, quote, does good things that have nothing to do with abortion. He argued that the organization helps a lot of women and that abortion is just a small part of what they do, but you don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that, and unfortunately, I think Mr. Trump is taking the Democrat Party's talking points on Planned Parenthood. There are many other organizations that exist to help women with their health issues, pap smears, mammograms, et cetera. In fact, Planned Parenthood does very few mammograms, just as one example, but what they do is a whole lot of abortions, and those Planned Parenthood clinics are specifically located in poorer communities. There are many in the African American community who believe Planned Parenthood is preying on their communities. For example, in the city of New York, there are more African American babies aborted every year than are born alive.
And given Mr. Trump's positions last night during the debate, you said that you hadn't given any money to the Clinton Foundation or donated to his wife's Senate campaign. Is he running in the wrong party?
Well, you'll have to ask Mr. Trump.
All right. Let's move on to the attacks from Donald Trump following the debate as well. You said that women of all kinds are horrified by Donald Trump's statements about women and that presidents can't be so thin-skinned. In response, Mr. Trump criticized you on Twitter, writing, if you listen to Carly Fiorina for more than 10 minutes straight, you develop a massive headache. But he's still leading in the polls. What's your take on all this?
Well, look, presidential campaigns are designed, among other things, to reveal character over time and under pressure. And I think over time and under pressure, various candidates' character is being revealed, and that's for the voters to sort out.
Before the other debate, the non-marquee event, you, of all the other candidates, didn't criticize the way that the formulation was made to have that second debate. You said you wanted an opportunity to talk to the American people, and clearly you were able to do that because your numbers are on the rise.
Well, going into that debate, look, I don't complain about things I can't do anything about. I couldn't do anything about the way Fox News set the rules, so why bother complaining about it? But it also was an opportunity for me, because going into that debate, less than 40% of Republican voters had ever heard my name. Because I'm not a professional politician and because I'm not a celebrity, I have the lowest name ID in the field. And so this was an opportunity for me to introduce myself to the American people. And now that more of the American people know who I am, it gives me an opportunity to talk with them about what I will do.
Well, clearly that is the case, and we have some questions from some of our social media followers who are familiar with your name now. You've taken a lot of heat for your stance on mandatory paid parental leave. You criticized Netflix, Adobe, Microsoft for doing so. So, Amanda—
No, I did not. That is inaccurate. I did not at all criticize them for doing so. I celebrated them for doing so. If you will go back and look at that interview, what I said is the federal government shouldn't mandate that. But companies like Netflix, I commended them for this. Companies like Netflix, like Hewlett-Packard when I was there, that provide paid leave for maternity or paternity are doing so because they know it helps them attract the best talent.
All right, so let's move on to these questions that we've received from social media followers. This comes from Amanda VW. She tweeted, "You had me interested until you were against paid leave. What about public employees like teachers?"
Well, I'm not against paid leave. Again, that's why I corrected you. It's really important, if we're going to talk about the issues, to get the facts right about what a candidate has said. I'm not at all against paid leave. In fact, as a chief executive, we had paid leave and we made those policies even more generous. The teachers union, the teachers ought to be talking to the teachers union about making sure the right things are happening. But again, I find it so interesting that the teachers union, among others, the federal government, among others, their own personnel practices are not best in class. And yet here, progressives and liberals think that the unions, as well as the government, should be telling everybody else how to do things. It makes no sense to me. Netflix is a leading edge company that's doing the right thing. They have a firmer platform upon which to say to others, look, here's an example of how to run a great competitive workforce. Why does the teachers union or the federal government have any opportunity to tell others how to do their business?
Okay, let's move on to another question we received on social media for somebody who's following your campaign. Charles Neuf tweeted this question: would you build a wall on the border and fund enforcement of immigration laws?
Well, first, as I have been saying for a very long time, of course we need to secure the border. And guess what? The border's been insecure for almost 30 years. And yes, we know how to secure a border. It's just the professional political class hasn't done it. What does it take to secure a border? Walls in some places, but truthfully, what it takes more of is technology, money, and manpower. All of those things we have. So it's not that we can't solve this problem. It is that apparently we have lacked the political willpower and the leadership to solve this problem. So yes, I would secure the border. Secondly, we need to fix, to the point of the question, the legal immigration system, which also has been broken for 25 years. Many of the people who are here illegally came on a legal visa and overstayed. We had no way of checking on that. Boy, in this age of technology, that's a problem we could solve. We let the wrong people in, we send the wrong people home, we don't have an employer verification system that works, we have 16 different visa programs, if not more. We have to fix that. And again, this has been a festering problem in Washington, D.C. for 25 years. So we talk about it every election cycle, and yet somehow it never changes. And in order for it to change, we need a different kind of leadership in the White House, and that's why I'm running for the presidency of the United States.
Such an interesting discussion, Carly Fiorina. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.